Monk Mode 2024. My thoughts collected. Monk Mode, the infamous challenge made popular by Iman Ghazi. What is it? What has my experience been with it? And what should you know going into this challenge? Before we get too far into this video, I just want to let you know that what I did was not exactly Monk Mode. I sort of went off the traditional route of Monk Mode and kind of modified it to my own goals. But that is really the idea of Monk Mode anyway, so I wouldn't really call it modified, but I would in a way. Basically, the whole point of Monk Mode is to tailor it to yourself and your needs and your goals to help you get there. And that's basically just what I did, but I did it over an extended time period, which we'll talk about later in the video. So let's get into it. So for this challenge, we have a list of non-negotiables which you have to do every single day, and a list of other variables that are just nice to have so you can do them every second day, every third day, whatever you want. Firstly, my non-negotiables were 2 liters of water per day, no junk food, 30 minutes of exercise each day, 1 hour dedicated to craft, and finally, journaling. Now my other variables were read 10 pages of a book, stretch, and pray. So, 2 liters of water per day. With this rule, I usually drank 1 liter to 1.5 liters of water every single morning. Then throughout the day, I just take little drinks of water here and there, and that would eventually add up to my 2 liters. I wasn't super strict with this. I wasn't measuring out every single drink that I had, but as long as I drank that 1 to 1.5 liters in the morning, then I was fine by the afternoon. And there was a lot of hot days where I'm sure I went over that 2 liters of water just because of how hot it was. No junk food. Now this rule is way more simple than most people make it out to be. For me, this is my second time doing Monk Mode and my third time doing a challenge of this sort. So it's just become really routine for me, I guess, just eating clean during the school term or during these challenges. So it's not exactly a challenge for me, I'd say. 30 minutes of exercise. So when I say exercise, I mean anything from walking, running, swimming, gym, calisthenics, just anything that's out there and active. So obviously I'm pretty active, I'm out there doing things constantly. So this 30 minutes of exercise for me wasn't really a challenge. I would either be on a run, I'd be walking the dog, I'd be swimming for school sport, or I'd be at the gym. So some people will say to you, it's not exercise unless you're pumping weight or you're doing this, that, whatever. Little things like walking your dog can be exercise, walking them around the block. And me and my friends walk from my house to the beach or whatever it is. These little things that other people may not consider be exercise can be considered exercise. So yeah, I have a bunch of different outlets where I can be active, like I just listed off: swimming, running, walking, playing sport at school, going to the gym, whatever it is, doesn't matter as long as you get out there and active, which I was able to do for this challenge. I think as long as you stay consistent with your exercise, it can become quite easy. So I wouldn't really even consider this to be a super hard challenge. 1 hour dedicated to craft. Okay, so when I started this challenge, I used to sit down at my desk for an hour straight, set a timer, and just work. And it's a good idea and all, but it quickly faded away. Now look, I'd love to sit at my desk an hour straight each and every afternoon, but sometimes I was in meetings, or I had calls, or I was at the gym, or I just couldn't fit it in. And that's when I had to adapt my workflow to be able to work throughout the day and not just in that one tiny period. So look, I wouldn't consider myself to be slacking off. I think my workflow just kind of molded and changed. Some days I would sit down for 2 to 3 hours at my desk. Other days I'd be sending cold outreach and I'd be talking to clients, whatever it is. And I just simply wouldn't have the time to sit down and do it because I've got other priorities I need to tend to. So I think as long as you're getting your work done, it's not really an issue, which is kind of the way that I look at it now. But yeah, I got my work done and I've definitely progressed over this timeline. So I'm happy with what I've done and how I've grown over time. But yeah, obviously some days I'm sitting down for 4 hours editing on my computer. Other days I'm just sending outreach, going, meeting clients, whatever it is. So the one piece of advice I give you is adapt your workflow as you go. Don't always just have a set schedule. You can, in the beginning it's nice, but eventually you're gonna have to adapt. That's what life is all about. Journaling. Okay, so my last non-negotiable is journaling. So for previous challenges, I used to journal in a physical book, but for this challenge, I switched to using my phone and using the new journal app, which was quite nice. I could add photos, it's all gimmicky at the start, and then you just kind of use it like a normal journal. I thought that'd be interesting to explore. Would I do it again? Maybe. I kind of prefer to write it down in a book and actually physically see it there, and it's kind of like, it's going to be on my phone, but what if I lose it or whatever? So I'm not sure if I'll do it again, but it wasn't a bad experience. Okay, so let's just quickly talk about my extra variables. So first was reading 10 pages of a book, so non-fiction, clearly. I don't read fiction usually, sometimes. but yeah, non-fiction book. So throughout this challenge, I was reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad, but towards the end of the challenge, it's been getting really busy with work and school and whatever. So I haven't really had time to sit down and read. And even when I have, I just really haven't been motivated to. And that's something I need to look at and improve on, because I really do want to read and I really want to extend my knowledge. Towards the end of the challenge, I did slack off just because it wasn't a non-negotiable, just because it was the other variable that I added in. But yeah, I need to read more, and that's definitely something I need to improve on in the future. My next two were pray and stretch. I don't know why I wrote these down, to be honest. I've seen a lot of videos saying, you should reach out to God and you should connect with God and your body and whatever. I should start being more spiritual, but also it's just kind of not for me. I've never really been into it. And the stretching thing, it's just so boring. I do not like stretching. It's good sometimes, it's good for the release, but just like... Alright, so what are my final thoughts about the challenge and what's some takeaways I can give to you? I've had a script for the whole entire video up to this point, so this is just going to be winging it. Okay. So this challenge I've done twice now. The first time I did it for 30 days, I believe. And I remember getting off that challenge and I just ate so unhealthy again for the next 3 days before I started 75 Hard. But I remember being so relieved and I barely even did the challenge. I think with this challenge, if you go for too long and you're really used to that, balanced lifestyle where you can eat a little bit of junk food here and there, and you can eat healthy food, or you can not exercise every day, or whatever it is, kind of that balanced lifestyle. I think going into long-term challenges like this, even 30 days can be very long-term. I think for me, if I'm going to do it again, it'll be between that 21 to 30 days. This time I did it for 61 days. I know it's an uneven number, it was the end of my school term, whatever. But this was closer to the 75 Hard challenge, which is why I believe I began to slack off, especially with reading towards the end, just because it got so repetitive. One thing that I'm starting to notice, I think it's good to have a nice life, work, health balance kind of going. I think it's good to be really healthy, but I think it's also good to kind of relax sometimes and not constantly be hard on yourself. Now, I'm not saying go super easy. I'm saying you should be really healthy in your life. It will improve all aspects of life. But I'm saying it would be nice to have a little mix of everything, which is what I think I started to miss during this challenge. Going out with friends, family, whoever, and it's just like, oh, I can't eat that, or I can't eat this, or oh, I've got to do exercise today, or I've got to do work today, whatever it is. I don't think it is super hard. Like, mentally I can do it. It just gets really repetitive, especially when you're doing it in the long term. So I think a good balance of life can really help you, which is what I want to focus more on this year. So yeah, some takeaways. Don't do the challenge as long as I did, which was 61 days. I don't know why I did it that long. This challenge really does help you get in that mindset and keep you rolling. Like, I have seen some really amazing growth with my business in this last 60 days. Going into this, if you're a beginner and you've never done this sort of thing before, I think do that 21 days to 30 day kind of challenge period. I think this challenge is really for those either aspiring entrepreneurs or people that want to help build themselves a better future. I think it is really good, and I'm definitely going to continue doing it this year, but just in shorter periods of time. But I think if you're an aspiring entrepreneur, you're working on a business, or you really want to focus at school, or you just want to better yourself in general, I think this is a really good challenge for you to look at. And it's definitely helped me both times, more this time than last, just because I have that business running now, and as they say, it keeps snowballing as I grow. So look, there's not really many negative takeaways from this challenge, not that I can think of right now. I'm probably going to watch this video once it's done and edited and be like, oh, I should have mentioned this, that, whatever. But I think it's more important just for me to get my thoughts out right now, and whatever I want to say in the future, I can say through my other platforms. But I think this is good now. I hope this has kind of helped. I'm not really sure. I think I've just talked this entire time. But I hope this has kind of helped you in some kind of way. I would go watch Iman Gadzhi, I'm not really sure who else talks about it, but I would go just search it up, go watch some other YouTube videos, see what other people think. I think it's an amazing challenge, and especially if you want to develop yourself more, I think it's good to look into it. So make sure you subscribe down below, leave a comment letting me know what you think about this video, leave me a comment saying this is my favorite part of the video, whatever. It helps me grow as a page. And yeah, if you haven't seen my videos already, I do usually a day in the life video each week, so make sure you go check those out. I'm just documenting my whole journey, my life journey, and my business journey. I really appreciate having this platform to talk to you guys through. So make sure, like I said, you subscribe, leave a comment, turn on the post notifications, Follow along for my journey because we've got big goals and we're going big places.
No.